environment now that we need to be thinking about as a place of opportunity to make a difference in influencing health behavior. Kids love social media, they love gaming, and they also love to have things in their own hands that they control. We know this because we talk to kids a lot in the work that we do. So let me just give you a sense of how this works. In order for, which button was mine? Okay. There it is, okay. So this is a little scenario. The idea here is that you wear this 3-axis accelerometer that basically tracks your physical activity over the course of your day. This is a girl named Courtney. She's been working with us in some of our product development efforts. And as you can see here, Courtney, she might hear about this through school. She'll get one of these accelerometers and wear it around and do her day. Now, her day might be as a member of a sports team, but it also might just be that she likes to look at YouTube videos in her room and dance around. And for kids, that's an important way that they move. This is really designed to capture activity that kids engage in, which typically is in short bursts. They don't work out the way grown-ups do. They don't go to the gym, but they do a lot of movement, and we want to really reinforce that over the course of their day. So in Courtney's case, she may jump around on her bed and dance to music that she's listening to. And then at the end of the day, or at the next opportunity she has, she'll log into the computer. This has a USB device attached right to it. And on her Zamzee.com website, this will be converted, the activity will be recorded and uploaded to the site and converted to an online currency that she can then exchange for a series of rewards. Some of those rewards relate to the experience on the site itself. She can trick out her avatar, she can earn a badge, all kinds of things that are based on things we know kids like to do. But she can also save that currency up and exchange it for things like a Target gift card. So the real basic idea here is to create an engaging experience that motivates kids to go out into the world and move more so that they can continue to have that experience. One of the things Hope Lab is really committed to in all of our work is to ensuring that we rigorously evaluate the impact of what we're doing. So we are actually able to stand here and talk to you about the fact that we know it works. We have to date with this product, which, by the way, is not yet available. It's going to be launched later this year. But to date, we've done 6 randomized controlled studies. We've got over 10,000 hours logged, over 300 kids. And what we're finding very consistently at this point is that the kids who have this Zamzee experience are sustaining moderate to vigorous physical activity levels that are about 30% higher than the kids who are not. That literally adds up to nearly a marathon a month of additional activity in these kids. So we know we can do this. We know that you can incent and motivate people to do things that are good for them. And the kids themselves also are telling us that. So here's just a few quotes. When I got the Zamzee, I started doing activity because I wanted to, not just because I have to. It made me feel better. A lot of fun anecdotes from kids about competitions that they're having with their siblings. Also from parents telling us that they see lots of opportunity for family engagement, linking family rewards and family incentives into this opportunity, which we find very exciting at Hope Lab as we think about launching this. I know you're going to want to talk a lot about sort of how you do this and how you scale and achieve sustained impact, so I'll save some of the thoughts I have there. But I would just say as a sort of a closing comment, we're very excited about this. We think there's a lot of opportunity. This is something that's fun, it's social, and it's working. And we're looking for partners who can help us leverage this impact. So I'll stop there.
Great. Well, as you can see, we have a lot of different perspectives on the panel. And when we did our pre-panel call, we had a very lively discussion, which I hope to duplicate some here. But if we start at the highest level, what we're talking about is in the arena of health, it's very easy to point out the needs. It's very easy to point out that we have bad behaviors in the markets. And it's often either overlooked or much harder to look at how we turn that need into want. And the broadest context of that is a cultural context. And I made a statement in our opening call saying that culture is something that's really difficult or perhaps even not possible to change. And I got some real pushback. And so I wanted to start with Miguel on speaking to the idea of, given that we have a culture that's pushing fast food and pushing sedentary lifestyle and marketers that make an awful lot of money off of doing that and are very good at demotivating us, how is culture changeable and how do we go about that? And are you seeing any indications of culture change?
Well, first of all, I love fast food, okay? So culture is something that is defined by the value of society, right? And so these values change over time. And if we can anticipate the change of those values, and if we can influence those change of the values, then we can change the culture. And we just see through the introduction of technology how culture has already changed, just with the introduction of cell phones or texting devices that people sit next to each other and text to each other rather than talking, right? That's a cultural change if you want. That people that don't know each other exchange very personal information just in order together to come up with new information changes culture. So it's really all about, and we heard that earlier, it's all about, is there a value proposition that is strong enough for people to try something new out, to get over the hump, because that's the first thing that needs to happen. People have to be able to be willing to adopt a new technology. And that is, again, going back to what I said earlier, everybody is different. Everybody has different trigger points. For certain people, it's very important to connect to their family. Other people could care less, right? For certain people, money is very important, where then certain reward systems or coupons or so these types of things work. Other people would need a lot of money to change behavior. And so we really, technology has the potential to change culture because it is so pervasive, it is so cheap, and it reaches everybody. It can be very personalized. And so we can actually now find different triggers for different people very rapidly and apply them. So this is how I think technology could change culture very rapidly.
Certainly, culture also ultimately ends up playing a role at a personal or individual level. And Mike, I know when we talked about how diabetics can, in some cases have gotten to the position of becoming diabetic because they weren't paying attention to what they were eating. I don't want to overgeneralize their genetic factors and things, but there is certainly a personal motivation element. So how, as you're looking at it, do you address that when you're such a broad-scale manufacturer?
It's a great question. I mean, we kind of look at it less about the technology, but trying to understand more the cultural context in which we're placing it. And understanding, are there motivators or drivers that can be used, and then we can leverage this technology to reinforce those going forward. So, I talked a little bit about these meal markers before, and it's different because we are a global organization. You can think of it a little bit like this. If you're living in Italy and you want to test before meals and after meals, you're probably going to set it for 9 p.m. and then 12 p.m. after your dinner. But if you're living in South Florida and you're retired, you might do it for 4:30 and 6, okay? But the technology is not changing. The context in which it's being used is changing. And I think the more we understand that, the better off we're going to be. The issue that we have is we're just really on the forefront of understanding what the differences are, even within our own culture, within target groups within that culture in the US. So if it's a younger patient or children, if it's an older person who's retired and Social Security, these emotional needs, which I think is really, really important, and where they sit today, what's going to drive them to really use information that they have at their fingertips to get more information, and then how we're going to give them the effective skill set to change behaviors going forward.
Rod, when members of the Ant Plus Alliance around the fitness arena are working, they're generally working with a very motivated audience, right? People that are training for triathlons, training for marathons.